Hello and welcome to day 3 of Inspo's Career 7 with me, John Slattery. What a beautiful Thursday it is outside. A cousin of mine, John Deneen, who's a huge inspiration in my life, was battling a very serious illness a few years ago. I asked him how he was getting on, and he said to me, John, sure, if you didn't know, you wouldn't know. Because he was looking good, he was feeling good. So as far as he concerned, everything was great. And interestingly, as I was outside, the exact same thought came into my mind. Like, such a beautiful day, sun shining, really wonderful spring day. And it's really, really, if you didn't know, you'd think it was just a normal, wonderful day. And of course, it's not normal. There's a big thing happening outside. And with that in mind, I hope everyone's being safe, staying safe, feeling good, and looking after the people in their life. I actually brought my camera outside and was hoping that I could shoot this outside. The only thing is, the birds are singing at the top of their voice, so making it a little bit tricky to do it outside, so I've come back in. These videos are a great experience for me, and yet they're also like new because it's a very different experience, so I'm trying to do the best I can. Interestingly, the birds have given me an idea being out there though. Them singing at their top of their voice reminds me that I'd be a fan of a song myself, and those who know me would know this very much. And what I find in videos as well, like, to really get across, like, you have to let go, you have to just be yourself. So with that in mind, I thought, well, look, the birds are being an inspiration outside. So here's just a little song. The song is basically very, very relevant to the whole idea of just being yourself in front of the camera, which will allow me to get the message across. So with that in mind, the snow glows white on the mountain tonight, not a footprint to be seen. A kingdom of isolation, and it looks like I'm the queen. The wind is howling like a swirling storm inside. Couldn't keep it in, heaven knows I tried. Don't let them in, don't let them see. Be the good girl you always had to be. Conceal, don't feel, don't let them know. And now they know. Let it go, let it go. Can't hold it back anymore. Let it go, let it go. Turn away and slam the door. I don't care what they're going to say. Let the storm rage on. The cold never bothered me anyway. Well, do you know what? I hope you enjoyed that. I hope that for a few of you joined in and sung along. Do you know, that's nice now. I think we're all set. We're good to go. This is episode 3, and we're looking at the second of 3 steps in the Inspo process to help you make a great career choice. Yesterday we looked at step 1, and that's all about creating an uninhibited list of options, and those are all the possible options that you believe could be the right career path for you at the moment. We're ultimately going to evaluate them to create a short list and then finally choose the one that makes most sense. This is where step 2 comes in. There's 3 components you're going to work on now to use to evaluate the options, to create that shortlist, and ultimately to make the choice. So the first of those components is having a vision in your life. I love the idea of you having a vision in life. It goes beyond your career. The benefits are so far reaching. Even in the context of what's happening right now, the benefits are massive. So in simple, let's just cover off where vision plays a role and recap in the process. More importantly, I just want to share with you just a couple of different bits around why a vision is so helpful for you. So yes, in the process, a vision is going to be one of 3 components that you're going to look at each option and say, does this option honor my vision? Does it fit in well with my vision for my life? If it does, then it has a chance of going through to the shortlist. If it doesn't, then it gets parked. So that's where the vision plays a role in the process. Now, why I love a vision is the piece that I'd like to just spend a couple of minutes on here. For me, a vision is like, it's like actually If you were to go driving in a car for 8 hours today with nothing in GPS or nothing in Google Maps, where would you end up? I hope that you got nowhere or anywhere, John, because that's pretty much all we can say. Sure, we could end up anywhere at all. Now, that'll be good crack for a day, but imagine doing that consecutively for every day. Imagine doing that for 48 weeks of the year. Imagine doing that year after year, where we get into the metaphorical car at the start, drive for 8 hours in no direction. Okay, over time, that's just not going to work for us. It's not going to be helpful. It's not going to be healthy. So for me, having a vision is like putting every morning in this clear picture on your GPS and your own Google Maps, and being able to look at it and go, do you know what? Like, I'm happy I'm driving towards that. That's feeling good for me, and that's what a vision for me gives you. There's a couple of people like that I look and just think are great examples of having a vision. Nelson Mandela, created a constitutional democracy and helped to tackle racism in South Africa. He spent 22 years in a prison in Robben Island, and yet he managed to stay strong, stay focused. And for me, him having that vision was one of the key things that allowed him to do so. This wonderful person, Greta Thunberg from Sweden, how cool is she? As a teenager, has spoken in front of UN assemblies, has spoken in front of different governments, has gone on a boat transatlantic to show people that it can be done. It's huge perseverance and resilience for someone who's a teenager. And for me, again, she has a vision for herself and life that she sees, and it seems to be such a driving force. If I look at those people, I'd regard them as inspirational. And I've always kind of had a nerdy fascination with inspiration. However, I've never quite been able to define it. In my studies of NH-dip in psychology, I did come across research by the likes of Scott Barry Kaufman, E.P. Torrance, Todd Thrash, Andrew Elliott. And what I found from looking at their research is that inspiration, you and I actually have inspiration as soon as we attempt to realize a future vision of ourselves. By doing that, you and I give ourselves greater levels of creative productivity. Now, what does that mean? To call it very, very bluntly, it means the ability to get shit done when you need to get shit done. It gives you greater levels of positive emotion, so self-belief and optimism, and it gives you greater levels of approach motivation. So just having a drive and a motivation about going and doing things. So for me, there's huge, huge benefits of having a vision. The first time I came across a vision and the power of it was, the first time I had a vision properly in my life was age 7. I wanted to be the next Argentinian soccer player, Diego Maradona. Like, he was my idol. And I would spend hours out in the back garden kicking the ball. The only thing is, like, I wasn't like just kicking the ball out in my back garden. I was like, I was motivating teammates, imaginary teammates. There was no one else around. The trees either side of my garden, sure, I thought they were thousands of fans, and this is the vision I had in my head every day out in the back garden. And I'd be like trying to get the crowd trees, trying to get them going, like, and that was my day every day. So this vision was very clear. The other part of the vision that I had was, like, I used to watch a program on Sunday evenings. Sure, some of you would know it, Sunday Game. For those of you who don't know it, it's just highlights of Ireland's 2 national sports on a Sunday night. And what I noticed as a kid watching it, that was when the players came out onto the pitch, there used to always be a bench on the pitch, and they used to jump over this bench as high as possible. And every Sunday evening I'd say to myself as a kid, one day, John, one day you're going to jump a bench like them. And if you roll forward, so now to May 27, it's Croke Park, the national stadium in Ireland. It's Wicklow, the county that I adopted as a 14-year-old when my family moved. For those of you who know the Irish accents, you'll notice that this is a fairly strong Cork accent. That's where I was before that. So there I am playing for Wicklow against Louth in like the All-Ireland sort of championship. So it's the big national competition. I'm captain, so I'm running out into Croke Park first. The team are behind me. And biggest game I've ever played in my life, right? Training for 10 months, right? So the picture of the scene. And there I am running out onto the pitch, and there's only one thing on my mind. Guess. The bench. I'm like, where is the bench? Where is the bench? So I see it up ahead. And oh my god, do I literally run as high as I can. And I jumped, the jump, probably the highest I've ever jumped, over the bench, sat down on the bench, and sitting there, and I'm going, I've arrived. This is it, like, this is it. Feeling so good. Until someone, my teammate, taps me on the shoulder and goes, Slats, man, you're facing the wrong way. The cameras are that side. Because it's a team photo. So I was very quickly brought back down to earth. I guess though, why am I telling you that story other than crack? Because ultimately, that's age 25. This vision started as a 7-year-old. So it was 18 years in the making. Throughout that 18-year journey, there were so many times that I was told, no man, nah, you're too small, you're not good enough, didn't make, to the teams so often. And yet this vision stuck with me, and this vision gave me the creative productivity, the ability to get stuff done, to keep it going, gave me the positive emotion, the self-belief that said, you know what, John, you can do this, man, you can do this. And also it gave me that approach motivation to hit training sessions, to go back to games when I've had a bad game, and to take those setbacks on the chin. So for me, having a vision is so important. One of the things I suppose that I wanted to make sure we chatted about here is I think it's actually very important just right now, because we are going through a period in our lives that we've never experienced before. And for me, without a vision, it can be very difficult to deal with a challenge like this that we're facing. Whereas if you have a vision that inspires you, that motivates you, you can actually, I guess, one, manage what's happening, because it's not easy, but two, start to look for opportunities in it. So for example, for me, I have a vision, okay, so it's a drawn vision, and part of it's work, a lot of it's non-work, to be honest, but part of it's how I try and motivate and inspire others. And that, coupled with what's happening at the moment, where I can't interact with people on a day-to-day in work, meant that, do you know what, let's do video instead. However, as I mentioned in releasing episode 1, I'm not comfortable. This is not a natural place for me. However, I have a vision, and I have an opportunity now, and it's helping me do something that I haven't done before. So for me, visions are great every time, good and in challenging like we're facing now. So my advice to you, well, one, if you're interested in keeping with the 3-step process of Inspo, then my advice to you is it's about creating a vision for yourself if you haven't already done so. If you're not really interested in following the 3-step process and you're just kind of watching this out of interest, well then, for life, for me, the greatest gift you can give yourself is creative productivity, positive emotion, and approach motivation. And all you have to do is create a vision. So how do you do it? You've 2 options. You can either draw or write the vision. Me personally, I'm visual, so mine is a drawn vision. Some people aren't so you might write yours. So my challenge to you, should you choose to accept it, is over the next while, given that we have more time and space, take out a page and just write or draw what feels good, what feels right, what feels like is coming from within, and see what goes down on the page, and let that be your vision. Let that be your source of inspiration, your source of motivation, productivity, and positive emotion. Irrespective if you're doing this from a career perspective or life, you're winning. So I look forward to the benefit that it can give you, and if you feel it down the line and you want to check back in and let me know, I'd love to hear your experience of it. We're going to take a break tomorrow, I think, and we're going to come back on Monday for episode 4. If you would like to chat about any aspect of this and with me, drop me an email, John at Inspo, send me a message on LinkedIn. Otherwise, have a beautiful rest of your day, and we will chat again soon.